Sorry, I better keep one earpiece out just so I can hear her. What did you
Yeah.
think of the photo I sent you today?
That was amazing.
Wasn't it?
And what you said is true, that the more you look at it, the more you see. I showed it
Mm-hmm.
to my family, and they kept seeing different things than I did. Finally,
Oh,
I had to
mate,
point to it and say, "There it is, right there." It's amazing.
it's yeah. In a couple of videos I've taken, I'm counting like 12 to 15 different things, and currently right now, like I can't see it because I've got no camera. But out the back there, if we went and stood out there, and I'll give them a bit of notice now by turning on the light. Sometimes they
Yes.
sneak into the yard route, but once I sit out there, you'll be able to see the ice shine behind me, and it's quite a sight. So
So
I like to give them.
right now you're going dark.
No, I won't go dark with them, mate. It's like swimming with sharks. It's not recommended.
I ask because I notice I don't see you.
Oh, sorry. Have I? Can you see me now?
No.
Hang on a second.
This is new to me, so who knows? Maybe it's something. Well, hello.
Hey, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, buddy. Okay.
I've already seen you, and you haven't seen me, so this is
No, I
like
can
saying
see you.
hello.
I can see you pretty easily. So I'm trying to set this up in a way
Okay,
you can see me, if you can possibly see me.
I can see you.
Okay, now you just got to keep in mind that that's a park behind me. There's no reason to have any lights at all in there. There's nothing but trees and emptiness. So whenever you see a light, like you see right there, see that? So over
You
that
know.
shoulder,
Oh, yes.
right there.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
one. So that's how close I'll come. So it's just an empty park. So I think I've sent you the pictures before. Oh, there's a
Holy
few of them.
smokes. Okay, they're tall.
They're massive. But as I said, we have a very good relationship. I understand what they're about. Hopefully, they understand what I'm about. They're here to protect the earth. All they've seen are humans just destroying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I say get my six, you got to make sure because, as I said, the one from today wasn't a fan. So did you see him when he actually opened the mouth?
The one email you sent with the first two pictures, I couldn't get those pictures to open.
Oh,
But
okay.
I did see the picture with the face looking from the tree line, and then the
Yep.
comparison picture where it wasn't there, which means it was there in the first picture.
Yeah, and all the scrub that was put there.
Yeah,
That was amazing, wasn't it?
yeah. It,
Yep.
it's so amazing, like first contact or whatever, to see with your own
Mm.
eyes.
It was actually here. It was the very first time I saw one without a camera. Was it here? No, not the first one. But obviously, I can always see him through a camera. But to see it firsthand, to stand at the door and to look in, it was just one of the most emotional. It was unbelievable. And it wasn't overly big, but it was, yeah, it was cool. It looked good.
And I believe you told me before it's up here.
Yeah, definitely.
Communication.
Yeah. Yeah, I know things I shouldn't know. It's coming from somewhere. Like, yeah, it just is. Um, so yeah, I'm just been around that way because they're there too.
Oh,
Oh yeah, they get me covered. That, I know that's a street light. All good. Sure. So basically, on that side we've got park, And on this side, can you see anything down there?
See a red light.
Really?
Yeah.
That's concerning because there's nothing down there.
Yeah, it was like a red eye glow, but it was just one.
Yeah, no, that's all right. They do that. They cover one eye sometimes. They do that intentionally. I don't know why. But they're yeah. And yeah, yeah. So there was nothing down there, but on the other side of that is our bushland, and around the front of the place is my room, and that's the room that they always tend to gather out of.
Wow.
Hmm.
So any white light I'm seeing is their eye glow or eye shine? Eye glow.
Absolutely. Yeah. See what pops up and goes away again?
Oh yeah. And then you say they're nocturnal, and that's why.
I don't know. I think they've adapted. Well, I know cat's eyes do it, and they're not nocturnal, really, aren't they?
I guess they're both.
Yeah. But they're just like torches. They're like car lights, you know what I mean?
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
They're
So
definitely different.
they are. But as I said, I personally don't think they have a harmful bone in their body because they show genuine concern and yeah, they're
I
still
have heard
super
before,
cautious.
yeah, I have heard before that the dangerous, what we know as dangerous Bigfoot creatures isn't them, but something else, which is a
I
whole new
think,
thing to research.
yeah, I think there's definitely more than one type of being out there. They're pretty
Are they
clever.
talk? Are they talking to you now?
Yeah, there's clicking going on. But they don't really tend to talk too much to me. They just what I'll do is I'll go in, I'll turn this light off, and sometimes I'll come up to the door. But
Whoa.
that's full on. That was the first time I saw one close up without a camera. It was just standing there, and all they want is just to have the ability to see in. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They've never once attempted to sort of come in at all. They've always just gone. They just want to look. You know what I mean? They just want to see what's going on. I don't know
Very
why, but
courteous.
they're very curious people.
Very curious. Very polite.
Yeah.
They don't understand though that peeping um, is a concern, but you've grown to be okay with that.
Mm. Look, I think the yeah, I still stand by my original thought, which was that look how the world reacted with the flu. You know what I mean? Like, look what's happened to the world. Imagine if we told the world that monsters are real. How would the world react to that? Like, it would be close to chaos.
Right.
I just don't see any good coming out of it, to be honest.
That is one
So,
idea
yeah.
as as to why we're not being told more.
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, definitely. Well, and everyone has to be like the media have to be in on it. Like the journalists and stuff that covered the stories, like stories just go away, and it's just like, how could that possibly go away? So
Right.
yeah,
Almost all Bigfoot encounters, when people report them, it all goes about the same way as far as
mm,
the media treating it a certain way. It's very consistent. It's like, okay, you shared your story, now we're gonna go away.
mm, yeah. And I was also doing a bit of work out there um, the other night, and I was melting aluminium, and I left a few little bits of aluminium that had gotten hard out there. They were perfect little shiny balls. And they've made some type of diagram. I should have shown you while we're out there. It's on the ground. It's really fascinating. I've tried to work it out, but I think one's come close now because I just heard something before. So I'll give it a few more minutes and then I'll turn the light back on and I'll show you. But they've drawn a diagram on the ground with the aluminium, like they've scratched it into the concrete.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, I can't make much out of it, but I'll see if you can. But maybe it was just them mucking around with the thing, but there's definitely
Yeah,
shapes.
that's definitely, something is something. That's more
Yeah,
something than most people get.
absolutely. Yeah, no, so no, I feel
Yeah.
really lucky. But I think the breakthrough was music and just the general talking. I remember the first day, like did you get the video where they had the growls?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the growls was the very first day I managed to track them to where they were, and yeah, I realised that day that they had young ones there, so like that's completely understandable, and
Yeah.
yeah. But the other reason why I was a bit cautious about doing it tonight is because I've got Ava in the front room. They are so cautious when she's here. It's unbelievable. Like I will not hear them all hardly.
So
The
they
only
do see
reason I'm doing it.
themselves as protectors.
Yeah, definitely. Like the only time I've ever got a footprint or anything was the one time where she had a coughing fit during the middle of the night, and I reckon they bolted around, literally checking up on her.
Yeah, that's
It
amazing.
was absolutely. But the weirdest one was the time with the I told you about when I was having the shark attack dream,
Yeah.
and I've woken
Right.
up to
Right.
three big thuds on my window.
Waking you up.
Yeah. So, but I think that was more of a case of me showing like distress in my dream, like I might have been
Yeah.
yelling out or something in my dream, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So they thought I was in some type of yeah. Anyway,
So
it's
your willingness to befriend them has made all the difference.
yeah. Well, I always thought that they couldn't be aggressive because not enough people. I know they say a lot of people go missing, but in theory, not a lot. Like if these things are in parks, and that one I sent you today, that is such a populated area. So many people walk through that bike path and stuff like that. No one's going missing around this area, so they're not aggressive. I don't, and they don't eat. It's crazy to think what they eat. I don't know, understand how they could possibly eat, but I don't know what they eat. No, they eat passion fruit. That's it. But they can't live on that. Like they're getting their substance some other way that's inhuman. I think you know what I mean.
Oh, that would make sense because normally when people talk about Bigfoot creatures, Yowie creatures,
Mm,
it's well, they have water, they have food source, they have cover. In this
hmm
case, you're not sure about their food source.
I think they use the water because of the fear of fire. I
Oh,
think they're always around water because that is their ultimate. They are so fearful of it. They need to be around water at all times. It's the one thing that they just have. They can't do anything about it. I don't think they care about guns at all. I think they're more worried about fire than they are about guns.
okay.
I think they
That could
see
be
themselves as just big walking flame balls waiting to go up. You know. So
that could be one of the biggest clues of all.
yeah. So I'll show you I showed you the hair samples, the plat.
Oh, okay.
Hang on a sec. I left them out. So these guys make no noise when they move. They leave no tracks when they've been here. if they leave a handprint on the glass, they'll intentionally wipe it off. They make their presence absolutely virtually impossible to tell that they've been there. And then one morning, when I've gotten up, wrapped around the tree I always sit in, I don't know if you can see that really well. I'm trying to.
Oh, that's a lot.
And you can actually see there's a plait. There's a tiny little plait that one of them's done. And it's just like, trying to find it. Might be in this one. No, there it is there. That one there, if you can see that, it's actually a plait. Someone's plaited it. They've plaited their hair.
Oh.
Yeah. Weirdo. It's a tiny little mini plait. So,
I have heard accounts of them braiding horses' hair, so that means they care about that.
Yep. And I've got a cat here that walks around. There's 2 or 3 cats in the entire place that walk around here like they own the place. Like, I've known there's been times where they've been out there and 30 seconds later my cat's scratching on the door and just walks in with not a care in the world. So yeah, they've got no interest in them either. So yeah, it's a strange
those
one.
reports about the horses having their hair braided. They don't fear these creatures. These creatures are nice to them, and they see them as people that are being nice to them. And you're saying your cats aren't scared?
No, not one bit. Couldn't be less concerned. So
that's also very telling.
It's a very big telling. And then they see us, say, looking after the cat, or they see us looking after a dog. You know what I mean? I think that's a real big thing as well. If they see us caring for the same animals and stuff like that, they see us feeding the cat, they think, oh God, hang on. Just really little things like that, I think, make a really big difference.
Because they're always watching.
Yep. But as I said, every now and then they need to be able to know that we've got the ability to cause damage. I think that's really important, just to make sure there's enough of a line there. So like, yeah, I'll do things every now and then. I'll just do the big flamethrower sort of thing. I've got a bit of a butane torch that I pull out every now and then just to let them know. And yeah.
Okay.
And when I haven't used it, and they're like, well, you're not using it on us, you can't be. You know what I mean? So I think it just sends that sign as well.
Okay.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting when you shared that.
Yeah.
That
I thought that was
you
really
showing
important.
that you could do harm but are choosing not to.
Yeah, that's it. I reckon that's a really big go because, yeah, and like that whole story I told about that Scott Carpenter one. How, like, have you seen that video of his?
Yes.
And you can actually see the thing actually opens its mouth.
Right.
Yeah, like I remember that was the first real time I took notice of him. I thought, oh my God, he's found something here. And then that picture I took, it's almost the exact same creature. The big black eyes, the white face. It's weird to think. It's like how could the same animal be on 2 different continents? Like it's
Right.
bizarre.
Right.
Yeah.
That really points to some theories that people don't want to go to.
It blows the mind, doesn't it? Like how do animals get to 2 different continents? We take them there. That's the only way they happen.
That means they were put there. Exactly.
Yeah.
In my website, I have theories, and I welcome people sharing their theories.
Yep.
And I've developed some theories from what I've learned.
Yeah. What do you think about the idea? Can you see any shiny lights out there or anything like that?
No, not right now.
Okay.
I'm sure they're there though. They're probably
they're always there. Always there. They know I'm talking about it. That's how crazy it is.
And they know that I'm here.
Oh yeah. Scott Carpenter once made a comment about being marked. I think he once said something like he thinks that they've marked him somehow. Wherever he goes, they tend to come out.
Oh,
Yeah, I reckon he's spot on. I think they somehow have some type of way of
they
knowing.
must trust him.
Yeah, so I'll try and flick this camera around, but these are the ones on the ground, if you can see them. See those?
Yeah.
These ones
Yeah.
over here.
Wow. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, so they were done with like little bits. Right here. And that was a click just then. So they were done with little bits of aluminium that I'd left out here.
So that would suggest the use of hands. Okay, there's one
Definitely.
behind you.
Yeah, there's one right behind me.
Over your shoulder, yeah.
Yeah. But, and there's also one ducking down there too. God, I hope he might even be in the garden. Yeah, so there's one that's actually in my yard, so I might just step back inside. Might not be giving him enough time to get out. I'll flick that light off. But if I keep that light on all night, they won't come near. They won't go in the backyard.
Oh.
Yeah, they won't just give me a clear shot of them, which is just. See that one? How close is that? Is that far away? Because I can't see it through the.
I see the
I
shade.
don't know. Can you see the light?
I see a reflection off the window.
No, that's the gap in the door. I'm just wondering if he's standing right up to the door. See that little light?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's close.
They have let you take their picture
They
while they're
have?
at the window.
Oh no. No, I haven't used a camera with them for probably about a month.
Okay.
Yeah. So whenever they come to the window, I don't I make no effort to get them on camera or anything like that. So yeah, maybe that's why they keep doing it. But I'll make sure my camera is that they can see it. It's all the way over there, and I'm not using it for them. So I think that builds a bit of trust as well. And the fact that it's been going on for a while now, and they're still there. Like they haven't had any harm done to them. So I guess they must realise that the intentions aren't that bad.
Yeah. No reason to rush it, huh?
No, that's right.
Because you have time.
I don't know. I don't know how long they'll stay in the spot for, but it's been a long time now. I've been surprised. I thought they would have left by now, but maybe they'll just stay in there for as long as they want.
This
But
is
they
somewhat of a first for them, perhaps, knowing
definitely,
you're talking to someone about them.
yeah. Oh no, they've heard that before. Because I've spoken to people on the phone, but yeah. But whenever I come in the park, there's always one. And it took me so long to work out where. I might just put you on pause. I'll quickly send you through a photo. I'll get your opinion on it. Hang on a second.
Okay.
I don't know if you're back yet. See you. There you go. I always see people walking around during the day trying to get them on camera, and it's just like I've just never seen them waltzing around during the day. But then again, there's been times at like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at lunchtime where I'll get a knock on the back window or something like that. It's just like, guys, what are you doing now? And that's what I'm literally like with them, because it's just like, that's got to be risky. Like, because this is suburbia. Well, we're not Yeah, I've got bushland that way, but everywhere else is suburbia. I don't know how they've managed to get here. But yeah, during the day, like middle of the day, knock, 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 tap, tap, tap on the window, just to let me know they're there. That's all they're doing. And then I'll do it back, and then I'll do it back one more time, and that'll be it. And then they're gone again for 6 hours. It's such odd, really odd. It's like they just want attention every now and then.
Okay, so considering how careful they are not to be revealed, then they do things that make you
Like,
wonder, what are they doing
yeah,
to be
exactly. Like,
not to suddenly not be careful? I think you're right. They want to be noticed.
I don't, yeah, like for them to intentionally leave me their hair. And I said to him, guys, that's really good, but I have no fucking idea what you want me to do with it. So you either got to start communicating with me better, or tell me what to do with it, or come and see me in the daytime, and I'll take a picture of you right in front of you. But until then, I got no idea. I'm not going to do anything with it because I don't know what you want. So
I've heard juveniles are curious and perhaps do things that the older ones wouldn't do, taking risks,
yeah,
being
I've
playful.
I've only seen the closest to a juvenile I've seen was the one jump out of a tree that day where I stayed with the tree break. And besides that, I only see the big ones, and the ones I saw at night where with the eye shine, saw the mother carrying the baby. That was it. But that was a real little one, and I'm
Okay.
talking tiny. Like that would have been like really little, like to be carried around still at that baby age. Like yeah,
Ooh. And you got a
yeah.
good
That's
look.
oh, and she let me stood right. And I just heard something out there before. And she let me stand right in front of her too. So and didn't. God, that's got to be close now.
I take it you'll never move from this location because of
It'll be
this.
tough to. It'll be really
Yeah,
hard to. It'll be emotional for me to do it. I couldn't do it.
right.
And even then, like, if I'm away for a couple of nights, a few nights at a time, they're always usually this is the time they come around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. But if I've been away for a while and it's my first night back, they'll be around at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Huh. He's back. He's back.
How crazy is that? So yeah, they've got this attachment. So anyway, it's really bizarre.
So they don't want to be revealed, but they do want something to
They
do. They are curious. They do want that relationship with a
yeah,
human,
yeah,
that acceptance and love from a human.
yeah.
A lot of the things you say and a lot of the things I hear
Trying to
point
work
to my
out whether if
theory.
that yeah.
Who would want acceptance from man but be afraid of man? The
Well,
fallen angels created their own version of a human by conceiving kids with human
women.
women.
Yeah.
That created craziness. Eventually, the need for a flood to wipe out all that bad batch DNA that was out to eradicate the original bloodline of human.
Mm,
And I've learned the Bible has a lot on this actually that people just never talk about, which is another clue.
yeah.
There's a reason why people don't talk about the Bible talking about those things because they're
Mm,
uncomfortable or they're in on it. And
yeah.
these things being spread all over the world, I've already learned that ancient giants who look very humanoid, just huge, have been coming to the Americas for way back then for the minerals
Mm,
because they helped build empires. And there's documentation on this. So I'm not saying Bigfoot creatures are those, but I am saying having these creatures hidden, part human, part not, and maybe part something else, maybe they're hiding because they want to be away from that evil, and that's why they're timid. And the ones that are evil are because there's more of that evil influence in them. And so the good Bigfoot creatures don't want any part of that. They just want to be left alone. But then they have this need to love and express, which is what you're experiencing.
Mm.
I've also heard when you allow some of the weird to connect the dots, the biblical, the supernatural, some of this starts making sense.
You think
Otherwise, it
about
doesn't make sense at all to me.
you think about. I know when you mentioned the Great Flood, it reminded me of the story of Plato's Atlantis. And I always found that no one ever brought up the fact that I'm trying to think the exact point of it, but the original, who did they say the original ruler of Atlantis was? It Poseidon?
Yes,
He was
yes,
the
and was
god.
considered to be a god figure.
Yeah,
A lot of parallel
and
stories from different.
he had, what did they say? He had 10 sons or 10 sets of twins or something like that. And to me, that shows signs of genetic manipulation. And because it was the oldest son that took over the city of Atlantis, his name was very similar to Atlantis, but it wasn't. But I think that was one of the ones that was wiped out in the Great Flood. Like,
Okay,
definitely.
yeah, the
Because
Blurry
there's a,
Creatures podcast that I've told you about talks a lot about that very thing that you're saying.
yeah,
It connecting the dots, equating the stories from the Greeks and from the other civilizations, ancient Samaria even, it, where they all have a story of the Great Flood, or they all have stories of these great heroes that were like gods. Well, hello, that's what happened, but
mm,
that's their way of saying it, because the Bible says the same thing. The
oh,
giants
mate.
were
You,
created by the mixing of this DNA, and they were evil. They
yeah,
hated God, they hated man, because man was the creation of God, and they wanted to create on their own and destroy the bloodline that would lead to a savior. And throughout history, you see this effort to destroy God's creation and this effort to destroy man. And now people say there's some proof to it that alien manipulating our DNA still. Well, what's an alien? We don't know. Fallen
mm.
angels? Um,
I always think back to that story about in Zimbabwe in 1992 and how that story, the lack of exposure that story got, is ridiculous. So, have you heard about it?
no, but I want to
Okay,
now.
okay. So, do yourself a favor and Google this. There was a school in Zimbabwe in 1992 where a UFO landed. 65 people witnessed it. It was 57 students and 8 teachers. Alien gets out and somehow communicates with them mentally, like mental telepathy, and sends them the message that we're using our technology wrong. 30 years later, not one word of their story has changed between 67 people. These 57 teachers and 57 students and 8 teachers tell the exact same story they did 30 years ago. Not one of them made a cent off it. Not one of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just cannot believe that story has just remained basically untold. But it's there. It happened. It
The
landed. Like,
the technology before the flood evidently was immense, way more than now. And when the original Watchers came down to help man learn,
yeah,
but then they got carried away, teaching us way too much because, again, they probably wanted to be the boss of something. Well, then the flood happened, and ever since then, we've been catching up with this technology. And suddenly, we have these bursts of technology happening as if that fallen angel technology, that alien technology, they're gradually giving it back to us,
yeah.
but probably for their own agenda.
Well, if you think about how far of a step we've come from what the 60s to now, and what
Right.
sort of a lot of people point to Roswell as a bit of a reason to why maybe the technology. Have you followed much about Bob Lazar and read his story?
No.
The guy that worked at Area 51.
Oh, Bob Lazar. Yeah, I just saw that
Yeah,
documentary. I actually
yeah.
just saw that, and it
I
brought it
didn't
back
like
to me.
I didn't like the guy that made it, but I thought he's credible. He's not lying when he's talking. Bob Lazar, he's telling the truth. He's recalling events that happened.
It's
Um,
interesting the truth that he shares, and then the truth he's not sharing, because he even
yeah,
admits he's not saying everything.
that's exactly right. But why would you? But how he could come out 70, oh, not 70 years, when was it? Maybe mid 80s, and
80s.
say, hey guys, one day they're going to get this element called element 155. They're going to be able to stabilize it and they're going to use it as a fuel. And 4 years ago, we stabilized it, or we've stabilized it for like 0.1 of a second and realized it's a fuel. And when he said that, we were probably at about element 94 on the element charts. So he's come out and predicted an element 21 elements away and said it's going to be used for a fuel. How else could he possibly know that?
Yeah.
That's
Di-
pretty full on.
Disinformation is something that I've realized is a very interesting topic.
Mm,
Why would somebody lie about that? But why would someone lie about Bigfoot? If someone's lying about something, when all they had to do was say nothing, but
mm,
then they choose to say something,
mm.
it's either the truth or the truth mixed with lies to throw us off.
I
And
think
who would do that but the government?
I think
And
the government's run like every business, and they make mistakes, and then people have got to clean it up. I think and that's what every job's like. You know what I mean? Every company. At the end of the day, they're just people. And like at the very first when that Roswell thing happened, on day one it was reported that an alien ship had crashed. It was then the following day it comes out with this weather balloon one. You know what I mean?
the
It
cover
actually
ups
even
happen.
said it actually even said in the first article 3 bodies were recovered, and yeah, everything got said it was
That
three
means our
ships.
government wasn't expecting that crash, of course. And
Doesn't it
then
blow?
people did their
It,
thing and reported it, and then suddenly government people got to them to change the story to
yeah,
protect whatever.
there's a great interview on YouTube. I don't know, I just can't remember what it was titled. If you could find it, but it was a guy they rang because they had to dispose of these bodies somehow. So what they wanted actual genuine funeral boxes. So they actually had to ring a morgue to get small coffins made up, and they asked him if he was able to make 3.5 foot coffins, and he's like, "Really?" Anyway, so yeah, so this guy telling the story was really quite convincing. He was an old guy, he was an old cowboy sort of bloke. You could just tell he wasn't a liar. Like,
And there's a mistake in the process where if you really wanted to cover this up, you wouldn't have 3.5 foot coffins made. You'd have normal coffins. Who cares if they're too big for something you're
mm,
trying to hide? So that person
well,
was being honest. But in saying 3.5 foot coffins, that's a total giveaway that this is not of Earth, or at least not of what we've been led to know so
yeah.
far. That's a
And
clue.
isn't what's the state in America where it was like in the Wild West times where they dead set have apparently got an alien buried in their cemetery. There was an alien crash, a UFO crash somewhere, and this is in the wild in the West, like in the Western days.
I'll
And
really have to look that up. That's
they
interesting.
they bury he's apparently still there. So
Buried.
the story goes. But I refuse to believe that he hasn't been moved or anything like that. But I'm just trying to. I just got to charge the phone. That's why I had to change
Okay.
here. I might
If
just
it
sit this
sounded
way.
dead, human-ish creature, humanoid, it
Yeah.
makes sense they would bury it, and it makes sense they wouldn't contact the authorities being out in the sticks, the
Yeah.
bush.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But like as I
maybe it
said,
looked
how?
human enough.
Oh no, they were well aware it was an alien. Definitely. I think there's even the town's even got a sign there. about it. I'm trying to remember the name of the town. I can't remember it now. But it
Yeah, I'll
was
look that up
like,
later.
yeah, definitely in the Wild West days. So there's a cemetery that still claims to this day that they've got an alien buried in their cemetery because the UFO crashed. So
I'm surprised. I'm surprised about a lot of things I haven't heard about yet.
yeah, how much
And
do you,
I've lived a few
you know?
years now in my life, and it's like suddenly I'm just learning so much now.
Yeah,
Not 10 years ago, but now.
yeah. What about the Anunnaki? That's the one from the story I really tend to believe the most. To me, that
Yeah,
shows logical. That's logic. You know what I mean? That
that's
actually makes sense to me.
that goes way back, which
Oh,
would mean we could probably believe it
hmm.
more than a lot of stories.
Like they've got diagrams that are 6,000 years old of the Anunnaki wearing watches. You know what I mean?
Right, ancient technology, which was more
Yeah,
advanced than what we have now.
yeah. They've actually got fucking watches on their hands, like 6,000 years ago. And yeah, and how they ran, like what you said. They've come down. They've ran the place. They've built us basically. They've organised it. Then they've left. What's the difference
Right,
between what they did and then what, like, say, America and us, we all did in Afghanistan when the war came on? We came over there, we overthrew the leaders, we ran it for a little bit, we put someone in charge, and we left.
right,
What's the fucking difference? There's no difference.
right.
It's how
And
the world works.
set it up to go in the direction that we wanted, that we thought
Yeah,
was best.
yeah.
So just like the Watchers came down to teach us and help us and got carried away with it,
Hmm.
now the same or something similar, doing the same, watching over us, interesting like Bigfoot creatures are watching over us, and the government or these powers that be that don't reveal themselves that could ultimately be controlling everything for a set time. Like
Hmm.
Roswell and our government covered it up. Well, maybe someone told them to keep it hush hush for now, knowing that we in America and those in the world weren't ready yet.
Hmm.
And now, since then, you have all this people thinking aliens are cute and Baby Yoda and yeah, we're all into the science fiction but we're gradually being led to feel more comfortable with that. It's like a preparation process for maybe a big reveal.
Hmm.
Also, Bigfoot creatures being a massive army, um, and demons need something to possess. So, another
Yeah.
theory. You
Yeah.
possess large
I,
creatures like that, suddenly you have a body that's huge, massive, maybe an end times agenda, maybe.
but I still think our greatest strength as the human race is our numbers, you know? Like, regardless of any size of the creature, no one's going to beat 6 billion people. So I think they're still, at the end of the day, they're still, well, they're not in the best position. You know what I mean?
It's a good
I still
point.
think we outnumber them 1,000 to 1, regardless of how many there are.
Right.
We'd have to outnumber them 1,000 to 1. So yeah,
That's
and
true. Their numbers are only big enough for us to see them once in a rare while.
mm,
There is a lot of area for them to hide that we don't go to. Interesting, as technology increases, people are moving from the countrysides to the big cities.
mm-hmm,
The population centers are getting bigger. People out in the country and the bush is becoming less. That's the case here.
mm,
People
yeah, like
don't want to. People don't want to stay being farmers.
yeah, mate. I've spent a lot of time in the bush lately, and I've just seen no evidence that there's anything near them. Like maybe one night I got a knock or two, but yeah, there's so many other animals out there. They're not coming near me tonight. I don't think for some reason. But then again, Ava is here, so I can't hear them. I can't see much. I don't even
Huh.
think they're there at the moment.
Oh,
I think they've...
that's surprising to me. I guess I thought too much of myself that they would want to
No,
say
no, no, no.
hello.
They'd like to... It'd be a different story if I go out there. They'll come back, definitely. But usually me closing the door and turning the light off, it's a sign for them to... They can sort of do what they want. So we'll pop out there again and see if any pop their
Okay.
head over.
Okay.
Actually, you can probably see a better view if I hold it like that. You can see any lights?
If 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 you think there's something for me to see, maybe you could unpause your end.
Hang on, can you see some bright lights right in front of you?
I'm sorry, all I see is a paused image.
Really?
Yeah, it's like part of your hand and the screen door. Paused
Uh,
image.
Still paused image?
Yes.
No. Okay, is it back to normal now?
No.
Okay, it's the phone. Sorry, guys. I just better charge it.
You're smart not to just walk right out into those trees. But I wonder what
Oh,
would
yeah.
happen since they come to your window. What if you went to their window?
Well, that's how it all started on day one. I went to them, so they came to me
Okay.
to let me know that they could. I just got to check this is charging. Hang on 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, it's charging. But you there?
I am here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I still think it's yeah, like I still get an odd feeling like walking out to my car in the middle of the night, like I'll still think, oh shit, I'll hear something. Like my daughter got out of the car tonight and the first thing she said is, Daddy, what's that smell? I just had a bit of a smell. It's like the old, you know how you always hear the burning rubber smell, burning
Yeah.
plastic smell? Yeah, it was that smell. I was like, oh, fuck, they're close. And so I just did nothing, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
she picked it up straight away. And
Why do you think the smell at that moment? How did that
what's this, sir?
help? How did that help the Yowie to make that smell? To make themselves exposed to you?
Like that. Okay, so I think, imagine if it was like, when I said when they migrate, there's always that one that walks a mile away from them, the
Yeah.
one that follow the leader. I think it helps them follow his path because they don't have to smell that bad. And also, plus with their hair, I've had like other thoughts like, now they've given me their hair, their scent is on me. It's in the house. They want to at least see if that hair leaves the house or not, or you know what I mean, something like that.
Okay.
I've had thoughts like that, but because as I said, I can't work out why they gave it to me for a creature to remain so
Some
non.
have said maybe they just stink. But
Yeah,
but there's so many times when there isn't a bad smell. It's almost like a defensive mechanism.
mm.
I'm
I
sure
think
they don't.
it's I think it's certain ones definitely because there are times where I've never. It's actually really quite rare to have ones that smell bad. The majority of the ones I've been close to haven't smelled. Well, I haven't smelled a thing.
So if it's
So
not a
it's
defensive mechanism or a communication thing,
yeah,
then just some of them do stink, and maybe there's a
yeah,
reason for that.
yeah. I think it's more to do with tracking, so they can follow. Maybe
Uh,
there's just one or two in the group. So and then when they migrate, one, as I said, like why do we only ever get one on camera at a time? We know these things live in packs and clans. It's got to do with whenever they're caught on camera, it's during the day, which they don't come out during the day, and they're walking, and that's when they're migrating. Because yeah, I don't know why they don't migrate at night. They migrate during the day, which is
what?
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
at night all they want to do is play and muck around. So as I
Huh.
said, and they've got that whole park watched all day, and they'll have these back end of the houses watched all day. And because they're the only two sections that are being watched, they won't go outside of those sections at night. Because they're the only two sections that they're 100% sure about are fine, because they've been watched all day by their little watcher. And they will not step outside of that boundary. So that's how they've become. That's how they've, and that's the reason why you'll never get them on trail cams. Oh, how did you make out with that trick? I told him. Has he tried it?
I still need to tell him that trick.
Yeah.
I'm patient about sharing tips because he's very careful and guarded.
Mm-hmm.
But I do need to tell him that.
Yeah.
He's
I was so tempted to do one the other day because I just
does make you think of new ideas, I'm sure.
It does, but I still keep coming back to the whole, okay, what am I doing it for? You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, like I don't want money off them. I don't want to make money off them. I don't want to be known as the guy, and I just don't think it will help the world out at all. I've watched how the world's reacted to a cold. How the fuck are they going to react to this?
Right.
Yeah, and I've said that to them before as well. Like it's come out of my mouth. Don't trust humans, guys. You can trust me, but that's it. Keep it the way it is.
These stories of people that know of these creatures and have communications with these creatures, they're usually not the ones telling the world about it because they do want to protect. And this friend that you referenced that has Bigfoot activity, the more I've known him, the more he shared, I get it that some things even he and I are not going to share everything until we're ready because it's like when you have the information in your hands, uh, images, sounds on recording, it's like, okay, we're being blessed with this knowledge. Who do we trust?
I wouldn't even know who to give it to. Like, I don't trust the media. God, fuck.
People keep saying we need a body to prove it. I think there have been bodies to prove it, but they get taken away, hidden.
Of course, there's been bodies.
Because they think we're not ready or something for this knowledge. So,
but
if we
remember
were to
that
kill
story
one,
about?
what's that?
Remember that story about the Mount St. Helens? And
yes.
He gave that number that 20 or 30 years. I always found that so fascinating about that story. The way that it was told, because the guard said to him, in about 20 or 30 years, there'll be no reason to keep these guys a secret anymore, or something like that. And I thought, okay, so when was that? So was that 81 or 80?
1980.
1980. Okay, so
1980.
So between 80 to 2010, what changed? Like what? Anyway, I always thought that was a clue to something, but I don't know why I said 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
That's just an odd number.
And what insight did that person have to be able to say that?
That's exactly right.
The agenda of those keeping the secret, the agenda may now be moving faster for their end game. How did that person know that our technology would be so advanced that everybody would have a camera on their phone, and so there would be more information out there? And the internet in 1980, the internet was nothing. And now we have the internet, and now here I'm sharing with Australia.
Yeah.
And that's a long ways away from where I am, and yet we're able to do it. How did that person know? In 1980, I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah,
I barely knew about it when technology started to happen.
I
The
agree. I've
military
got
had to say, you need an email account. Okay.
yeah.
When I joined the military, that's when I got my first email account because I didn't want it. Why do
Oh
I need
God,
this? No, I was slow.
this is what I mean. See him at the door, the little fella.
It is paused again.
Okay, hang on. It's my cat. So he's just walked straight past him, and now he's in the house. So he's come from the park. So he's had to walk, and we know they're at the fence line, and his hole's in the bottom of the fence. So he's walked through the park that they're in, and he's walked straight up to them where they're all standing along the fence, and he's walked under them and under the hole. And now he's in
Showing
here
no
to have
fear.
no. Now he's having a feed like nothing happened. So
Wow.
yeah. So as I said, they can't be that violent. They really can't. Yeah, they'll make a growl every now and then, but oh, and now he wants to go back out again. That's how little he cares.
And
So
yes,
that seems it.
leaving the domesticated pets alone as a food source.
Definitely, yeah.
Smart.
Not touching them at all. But there has been a few instances of them killing dogs in
Dogs get
America.
nosy.
Yeah, and get noisy. That's where I think it comes into it. And that's always my key indicator for when they're coming, too. If I'll sit out there and start playing music, before I know they're here, I'll always hear a couple of dogs bark. And I'm like, oh, here they come. So I think that might be more of a case of an accidental trying to make it quiet, maybe accident. You know what I mean? Just sort of thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I have heard of situations where they, like juveniles, will be messing around and they're bored and they force that person's dog to notice them enough to bark. Um,
Hmm. There
yeah,
was a
juveniles
story that.
curious.
Do you watch the YouTube channel? He's my favorite Bigfoot. He's one of the only ones I ever watch. Bob Gimlin, his name is.
You know, I've seen him in documentaries, but I didn't know he had a
No,
channel.
not the Bob Gimlin from the Gimlin Patterson one. This guy's calls himself Bob Gimlin, but that's not his name. And he narrates stories, and he's just got an unbelievable voice for narrating
Okay,
stories.
I'll check that out.
Oh
Thanks.
my God! Once you watch one, you'll watch 1,000 of them. Just the way he talks and how he tells the story, he's just very articulate and he's amazing. And he once told a story about he played a recording. That was it. He played a recording from a 911 call of a guy that's ringing the cops saying that there's somebody in his yard that's 8 or 9 foot tall that's just killed his dog. And just listening to this voice on the phone tell this story is unbelievable.
I've heard that. I've heard that phone call. Yeah.
I bet really.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. That's
and he just didn't have it in him to actually say. He tried to a couple of times. He actually tried to say it. He just didn't have it in him to say what it is. You know what I mean? I found that
yes.
so funny.
He understood that the 911 operator would not believe him.
Yeah, he kept
And the
saying
police,
big fella. Oh, but he wanted to say something. He just knew he did.
yeah, he wanted the help, but he didn't want them to think he was lying.
Mm,
That is an
yeah,
amazing phone call.
yeah, it really is because he was fearful, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, and the other that other great story about what is I'm trying to think. They call it Eight Mountain. I don't know where it is in America, but it's
Right.
somewhere in America.
Right. Washington State.
Yeah, okay.
Ape Canyon.
Ape Canyon, that's it. Yeah, those guys that got basically held up in the hut all night.
Yeah, the miners. They shot at
Yeah,
one, and then that
yeah.
night it was on.
It was on, and they were lucky to make it out. Did have you heard the the Sierra sounds? I think they're called.
Yes, I have.
They are unbelievable, aren't they?
Uh, Amazing chatter language for sure.
Yeah, it's these creatures don't make that same sound. it's a
Your
different.
creatures seem to, like you say, the mental communication and the clicks,
Mm,
but not chatter.
yeah, and they do a lot of whistling too, which is really
That
bizarre.
would be good communication.
Yeah, it's a great. Yeah, they do
And
a lot
you
of
told me
whistling.
that tree knocks
Tree
are a
knocks are.
communication. They can tell how far away a tree knock was.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
tree knocks are basically something that they'll use to when they're migrating, when they're moving. The one at the front will do the tree knock, and it'll either be assigned to "Here I am, follow me up to this path." You know what I mean? Just because of the echo can travel further. So
Smart. In the
very smart.
situation I'm aware of, that makes sense. It's
Yeah,
like coming and going. You're coming back now. Is it clear to come back? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it's weird. This spots where I see them all the time are always the sewers. That's their go-to place at the moment for some reason. During the day, I mean,
What is their go-to place during the day?
sewers.
Okay.
Yeah.
They stay
So
cold and there's
I
water
just
there.
think, well, I'm starting to think. Oh, look at that one. I'm starting to. Can you see the screen?
The screen is frozen
Oh
on
no.
just one image.
Bugger.
Mm,
Has it come back yet?
No. I'm sorry if it's a power issue.
It's going to be a power issue.
Okay.
I want to try and get out there because there's a few of them there now. See, they were there the whole time. Is it still frozen?
Yes. Maybe we do this again before the migration happens.
I think so.
Okay.
Hang on, I'll just try and just try one trick. Actually, am I back?
No.
Hang on.
Now something's happening. It's not frozen anymore. Now it's just
I know what the issue is.
your Skyping image. I see you. Now you're gone.
No, I know what the problem is. It's all good. Okay, am I back?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready to see what you see.
Okay.
Oh wow. Those lights are there. Those eyes.
Mm-hmm. And they're making noise too. Look at that one.
Is that
That's
one?
just.
Is that those? So that's like a creature showing its two eyes and now one eye.
No, there's three of them there. There's four of
Oh.
them. Yeah,
Oh, one of them just moved.
yeah. I do it all the time.
Their
So
eyes are so lit up.
unbelievable, eh? It's amazing. They're just sensational things. And especially when I play the music, they love it. But it has to be a certain type of music, or else they won't have any interest in
Right.
it. Hey guys. Yeah.
Beautiful, calming music.
Always got to be about love. Always love songs. I get the
That
feeling.
must be, they don't always get music, so they must love it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I actually planted a few trees out there as well. I thought that was a really good way of communicating to them that all humans aren't about destruction and all that sort of stuff. So
Right.
I wanted to show that I was putting, trees and things back into the ground and all that sort of stuff. But that'll piss them off, what I've just done. I'll get back on me for that. Yeah, I think they're not massive on exposure, but I told them about 3 nights ago I was going to do it. And so, yeah.
What did you just do that would make them mad?
Showing someone else, I guess, maybe.
Oh.
Because in the past I've sort of given them fair notice when they're not. What's that light down there?
Yeah. Hey, that's me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
A reflection in the door is me. How
Alright.
funny.
Albert, it's been so cool to meet you. I think my daughter's getting up, so I better go and attend to her.
Okay. Yes, it was nice to officially meet you.
Yeah,
And we'll chat soon.
So you've got this recorded, so you can see the eye shine again and show it to people?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. Excellent.
Yeah, we had
All
over an hour of recording and learning.
Beautiful. All right, mate, we'll organise the time soon. Is it going to pause or going to quiet?
Yeah, it's recording and it's saving it.
Excellent.
And I'm also recording audio separate just in case, so
Yep.
I can do this 2 different ways.
Okay. Cool.
So this worked out great. Thank you.
Yeah. No worries, man. I thought you'd get a treat out of that. As I said,
Yes.
They're interesting creatures, and we'll never work them out.
Yeah. Well, I want them to know this was wonderful to be a part of this, and I mean them no harm. So
Can you see now?
yeah, I see that.
How close is that to the door? Is that at the door? That's you, that bottom one. But there's one little dot above it.
I see the eye dot.
Yeah, above
And
there. I think
it must be closer because if that was
it's
a
a lot
tree line,
closer.
I think your angle was wrong for seeing it clear back in the tree line. I think that thing is really close.
I think it's right up to the door. But I look out there.
Oh, there's another one. No.
Crazy, eh? I'll come up.
Is that one creature and it's tilted its head?
Yep. They do a lot of head tilting.
I don't mean to call them creatures.
Oh no, I do all the time accidentally.
Hi.
But I've had one where I've literally had their face impression on the door, on the glass door before.
Okay.
So they'll come all the way up to it.
Okay,
It's cool. And mate, I promise you, it's not a fearful feeling. Sometimes it's a comfort. It's a comforting feeling. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's comforting sometimes to know that there's something there.
That's really good to know.
Yeah. I don't know all the groups are like this group, but these ones definitely are.
Okay.
And that one across the way the other day, that wasn't. He wasn't happy one bit.
Right.
Yeah, but
time photo you took.
Yeah, because he was in a different area, sort of thing. So they weren't a part of that. They weren't a part of that clan. So yeah.
Okay.
So also, I emailed you 2 pictures as well. Before,
okay.
Have a look at those pictures, and in the tree, you'll see what I'm looking at. There's a big black shape in the tree, and it's clearly changes in the pictures. You can see it, and that's what I mean about the watcher. They've got one watcher there sitting in the tree all day. They're in the trees more than we think. Okay. You know what I mean? They spend a lot of time in the trees.
We need to learn to look up, right?
Absolutely, but they spend a lot more time in the trees than we know. That's devs. They're climbers at the end of the day. That's what, yeah. Mate, it's been good to meet you. I've got to fly.
Okay. Thank you.
Not a problem. I'll talk to you later on.
Okay.
Actually, hang on. No, I thought I had a little one at the door, but I don't. It's all good. I was going to see if he was going to stand there.
Right now I have a paused screen.
Yeah, it's the battery. I've got to go.
Okay.
I think it's about to die.
Oh, now you're back.
But I'm really good you got those images, mate. That's great.
Yes. Thank you so much. Talk
No
to you
worries.
soon.
Okay, see you, bud.
Okay. Bye.